welcome to Expert Talks. I'm Agathe Ducar. Today we're going to be learning a bit about how AI can help traditional EHS compliance. I'm joined by Caitlin Bergman, who's an expert in the field. Caitlin, thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks, Agathe. Happy to be here.
Now, I'm going to start broadly and then narrow our focus as we go. So first, I'd like to know, what is the biggest problem that companies face when it comes to EHS compliance?
Well, budgets are shrinking as regulations continue to change and grow in complexity. And as companies focus more effort on public relations and managing reputational risk, more budget will be allocated to safety and voluntary reporting, like some ESG reports. This means that budgets end up being reallocated away from traditional compliance activities.
Okay then, so how do companies overcome this challenge?
Well, they can look at what they're spending their compliance budget on today and find ways to reduce it. A lot of companies outsource compliance activities to consultants, so looking at exactly what you're outsourcing is a good place to start. Technology is another aspect to consider when analyzing your budget. Ask yourself what activities your team is doing that could be fully or partially automated with technology.
So what type of compliance activities can be automated with technology?
Well, my first suggestion is to work on eliminating paper-based audits and inspections whenever possible. If an audit or inspection is on paper, a lot of valuable information is missed, like pictures and videos. And it takes a lot longer to report and act on findings coming out of audits and inspections when they must be manually entered from paper into EHS software. But a lot of companies have eliminated most paper-based audits and inspections at this point, so they can focus on streamlining other types of compliance activities. For them, my next suggestion would be to evaluate their approach to permit deconstruction.
Okay, so can you explain what is permit deconstruction and how can companies automate it?
Sure. Permit deconstruction is the process of taking a regulatory permit and finding all of the conditions that a site must follow to comply, and then translating those conditions into tasks. The process can take around 3 to 5 days, depending on the size of the permit. It's commonly outsourced and tends to be pretty expensive, especially when dealing with larger permits like Title V's that can contain over 100 pages. And if you think about the problem in the context of a large organization with hundreds of sites and dozens of permits that apply to each site, the challenge with permit deconstruction only grows. With today's technology, companies can partially automate the first step involving the extraction of conditions. For example, Enablon Compliance AI takes permit documents and applies rules to highlight potential actionable conditions in the document, presenting the results for the user to review.
So that leads me to my last question. Why only partial automation?
Yeah, that's a great question. Only partial automation because it's very important to have a compliance subject matter expert involved in the condition review process, as they are the ones that understand your site's operations and the regulatory requirements. They can ultimately make the call on whether a condition requires some sort of action to keep your company in compliance. This is why Enablon Compliance AI has an interface where users can review the AI's output and make any changes they need to the conditions before performing the extraction into Enablon's compliance module.
Excellent! Thank you, Caitlin, for your insight on Compliance AI. And thank you all for watching Expert Talks. Look out for more videos and more insight on industry topics.